Today's Terrific Talk podcast is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel, fantasy football for everyday fans. It's got new contests starting every week, no busted seasons, something for everyone, lots of contests to choose from starting at just $1. Just pick a contest, choose your team, and watch your score real time. Great week one here for me, fantasy. I went after Kareem Hunt on FanDuel, and we all know what Kareem Hunt did, setting rookie records, tearing up that Patriots defense. Want to know fantasy this week? Feeling really good about it. I want to give you a terrific tip for here week two in fantasy football. Tight end. Not a lot of people are paying close attention to. I think he's going to have a very, very, very good season. Ertz so good. Zach Ertz of the Philadelphia Eagles. Carson Wentz. Going to him a lot in week one. I think he's going to be a major target for that Eagles passing game. Eagles are going to be throwing the ball a lot this season. Look out for Zach Ertz. That's the terrific tip here. So go sign up today. Go to FanDuel.com, click the Join Now button, and use my code TerrificTalk. New users get a free entry into the NFL Sunday Million with over $1 million in cash prizes when you make your first deposit on FanDuel. Just go to FanDuel.com and sign up with promo code TerrificTalk. That's FanDuel.com, promo code TerrificTalk. And Bombfell. Bombfell is an easier way for men to get better clothes. You complete a simple questionnaire and then are matched one-to-one with a dedicated personal stylist. When you sign up, you pay $0 because there are no fees to work with them. You only pay for the clothes you keep. Your stylist will email you his or her selections, after which you'll have 48 hours to make any changes or even cancel altogether. You're in total control. I did it this week. My stylist hooked me up. I got a nice shirt, nice pair of jeans coming on the way. I'm going to be looking fresh this fall. It's the most simple, straightforward service around. They're on your side. They don't make any money if you don't find something you want to keep. And it's flexible. You can receive clothes once a month, 2 months, or 3 months, or you can pause cancel at any time. And I've got an exclusive deal for my listeners here today. For $25 off your first purchase, go to bombfell.com/terrifictalk. That's bombfell.com, bombfell.com/terrifictalk. Check it out. Bombfell. Open and close. Got a great podcast for you today. As always, really pumped with this NFL season. Got off to a nice little start here. 1-0 in fantasies. I mentioned my Chiefs just went into New England and took care of business and crushed the Patriots. I mean, that was something to see. We'll get into that in a minute. Kyle's Raiders won. I mean, everyone's happy this week. The wait is over. NFL Week 2 picks starts right now. Welcome to Terrific Talk. I'm Tom Anderson. Thanks for checking out the podcast, whether you're listening on the free CLNS Media app or straight off of iTunes. It's great to be with you today. We've got a bit of a shower-filled day here from the Hoboken Studios in New Jersey. I think the rain coming down is Kyle Appel's tears after his Super Bowl pick New England Patriots laid an egg on Thursday night against my Kansas City Chiefs. Kai, I love it. What a start to the NFL season.
You guess you couldn't ask for a better start for your Chiefs. What a surprise there, but hey, we'll see what the Patriots are made of. They always find a way to get it done.
Kai, I know you were kind of thinking that the Patriots could go 16-0. Let me ask you this. Can the Chiefs go 16-0?
No, because they play the Raiders twice.
Very good answer, Kai, as we all know, humongous Raiders fan. The 1-0 Raiders. We'll get to them in a bit. Let's get right into it. Every week, Kai and I are going to make picks against the lines. Vegas comes out every week with a prediction for the score, and we do our best, and we had a very successful week one. This week, we got to see everybody play, so let's get into it. Thursday night, Kai, the Houston Texans at the Cincinnati Bengals. Both teams here had very disappointing week ones. The Bengals at home are favored by 6.5. How do you feel about the Bengals in a primetime game, Kai?
I honestly have no clue who to pick in this game because Cincinnati had a very disappointing week one at home against Baltimore, and Houston obviously did not have a quarterback in Tom Savage or an offensive line at all. I kind of want to pick Cincinnati because I think they're the more well-rounded team right now in terms of a good group of both offense and defense. Houston, I just can't see them getting anything going offensively, even though they do have a decent defense. I think I got to go Cincinnati in this game.
I want to go Cincinnati in this game, too. We now know that the Texans are going to be starting Deshaun Watson, so Tom Savage Played a half this season. That looks like that might be all he's going to get. They're going to the young guy, Deshaun Watson. I'm a little worried, Kai, that because the Bengals have been so successful over the last, 5 or 6 years in the regular season, it's just kind of ingrained in our head where they're a pretty good team. They really look bad against the Ravens, and I really wish I called that last week because I was hot on the Ravens going into the season, that defense. But I think the Bengals might be a little overrated in our eyes. This line might be a little high, but I'm with you. I don't know who to pick in this one.
Yeah, it's tough. Cincinnati, I know Dalton had a miserable performance, but I think Cincinnati is definitely a team that's capable of turning it around. I'm not saying they're going to be amazing, but I think they should be able to win this game.
All right, I'll go Cincinnati with you against the untested quarterback. Next game, we've got the Tennessee Titans at the, oh man, Kai was all over this one, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars on the road here. Underdogs. Tennessee favored by 2.5 points. Kai, can Jacksonville keep it going? What a start. You were finally right about them.
Only took me a couple of years, but I knew Jacksonville would finally get off to a good start. That defense was dynamite, even though it wasn't against a very well-established offense in Houston, but still that defense performed very well. Bortles didn't do anything wrong. Tennessee going to be a much tougher matchup. I kind of want to pick the Titans in this one, but you know who I'm picking. I'm going with the Jags.
All right, you love your Jaguars. I'm still not a believer. It's 1 week. Jacksonville does this every year. They get people excited. Let's see if the Titans can bounce back here. They had a tough loss against the Raiders, but this is going to be a good test for them on the road, division opponent. We'll see. Next game, the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Kai, I did a teaser last week where I got the line down in the Browns game with the Steelers to 3.5. Of course, Pittsburgh wins by 3. Cleveland gets the 2-point conversion at the end of the game, kills me. That was awful. But the Browns here on the road against, can we call them my Baltimore Ravens? Am I ready to jump on the bandwagon? That defense looked pretty good. The Ravens at home favored by 8, Kai. You going Baltimore?
Doesn't that spread seem a little high to you, especially with what Cleveland did to Pittsburgh last week?
Yeah, Cleveland hung around in that game. Pittsburgh, they looked like they had pretty good control, but Cleveland could put up, some points against a very good Pittsburgh defense. Pittsburgh has a very nice defense. And Baltimore, I know they won big against the Bengals, but still the offense, not very impressive. This should be a fairly low-scoring game. This line could be a little high.
I think the line might be a little high. I'm probably going to pick Cleveland to cover in this one, but I do expect Baltimore to win, only because I was very impressed with how Cleveland handled Pittsburgh last week, which I thought would be the runaway in that division.
Next up, the Buffalo Bills at the Carolina Panthers. Both these teams 1-0. The Panthers at home here favored by 7. And before we get to the Bills, I just want to mention that, you pick New England, and a lot of people after that Week 1 performance are like, uh-oh, should we be worried about Cleveland? If you watched a single minute of that Bills-Jets game, don't be worried if you're a New England Patriots fan. That division is terrible. Horrible, horrible game. Carolina here at home by 7. Too many points, though.
It could be a case of too many points, but I don't really trust Buffalo that much either. I'm going to go with Carolina in this one because I think Carolina at home, they're pretty tough to beat at home. I'm going Carolina.
I'm going Carolina too. I really was not impressed with that Buffalo offense. I think I don't see them scoring a lot of points in this game. Next one, Kai, your New England Patriots at the New Orleans Saints. Patriots on the road here, favored by 6.5. Are you sticking with your Pats? I want to hear your take here.
Yes, I'm going to stick with the Pats. I don't have much of a take on this one. Look, we're all surprised to see New England lose a game at home as a home opener with Tom Brady at the helm. I get that, but you know what? I guess it was going to happen someday anyway. We'll see what this team is really made of. I expect them to bounce back in New Orleans. I'm going Patriots.
This is going to be a shootout. Kai, if you're a Saints fan, Sam Bradford tore your defense up Week 1. Is that troubling?
Absolutely. And not only did he tore them up. He had one of the highest QBRs of his career in that game. He went off. I've never seen Sam Bradford do that before. The Saints defense, obviously not very good. And you got Tom Brady indoors. Good luck.
Fantasy owners out there, I am sorry. David Johnson, the number 1 pick in most drafts. Broken wrist. He's out 8 to 12 weeks, 2 to 3 months. Really, really tough setback for the Cardinals, who I know you thought were going to bounce back this season. That line was not very good against the Detroit Lions last week. Carson Palmer looked very shaky. Good thing you're going up against maybe the worst team in the NFL, the Indianapolis Colts. The Cardinals on the road, Kai, favored by 7.5. Who you got?
The Colts were such a dumpster fire last week against the freaking L.A. Rams. Come on. I think Arizona's practice squad would destroy the Colts, so I'm going with Arizona. Next game, we got so of course you make me announce this one. You're 1-0, going to New England, going to Foxborough, beat up on the Patriots. Kansas City Chiefs, home against Andy Reid's former team, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Chiefs are favored by 5.5 in this one. Tom, what you got?
You know who I got, baby. We're rolling with the Chiefs. Woo! What a start. What a start. Kareem Hunt, fantasy. Nice debut. I was a little nervous. He fumbled on the first play of the season. And then from there, he just took off. This team has got a lot of speed. Tyreek Hill, we saw it again. The guy is just unbelievable. He's so fast. I think the Chiefs are they're always a really, really good home team. I think they'll take care of business against Philadelphia. One thing I am worried about, though, Kai, is the heart and soul of that defense. Eric Berry, out for the year. Awful, awful, terrible loss. Kansas City's going to feel that, no doubt about it.
Absolutely, that's a big loss. But Kansas City overall, I think, is a very well-rounded team, very tough to beat. And like you said, Hunt's first fumble on his first carry, and then the bounce back with 3 touchdowns is pretty impressive, especially for your first game. I'm going to go Kansas City in this one.
Next game might be the game of the week. This should be a good one. The Minnesota Vikings at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Both of these teams 1-0. Pittsburgh, Le'Veon Bell, you kind of called it. You thought he might be a little sluggish after not playing a lot in the preseason, and he was basically a no-show in Cleveland. That was really surprising. It's amazing. David Johnson and Le'Veon Bell were both terrible week 1. But you got to think he's going to bounce back here. But Minnesota, a very, very good defense and an impressive win against the Saints on Monday night. Who you got here, Kai? The Steelers are favored by 6.
I know, like I said, Bell would have a very tough time. I think he will have a tough couple of weeks before we see the Le'Veon Bell we're used to seeing. I'm going to go with Minnesota here because I think 6 points is too much, and Minnesota has a very good defense, so I think they can contain Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger honestly did not look that great to me. I think he's going to have a tough time with that Minnesota defense. I would pick Pittsburgh to win this game, but I'm going to take Minnesota to cover.
Next game, Kai, a team that we haven't seen them play yet, but you said would be kind of that surprise team who will make the playoffs this year, the Tampa Bay Bucks. They're at home opener here, favored by 7 against the Chicago Bears, who play a tough week 1. They might be a little bit better of a home team than a road team, though. Do you like the Bucks here, favored by 7?
I do like the Bucks here. I think Tampa's got some very explosive players. They're very young, and they're pretty well-rounded on both sides of the football. They've got the perfect combination of young guys and veteran experience. I'm going to take Tampa here. Chicago did have a very impressive game last week against Atlanta. A lot of people think might be back in the Super Bowl. Granted, it was at home, and Mike Glennon did look pretty good. I think it'll be a much different story in Tampa. I'm going with Tampa.
Mike Glennon going against his former team. We'll see. I think this is going to be interesting. We'll see if Tampa Bay is the real deal. I might take Chicago in the points, but Tampa Bay, I think, will win the game.
Next game, we got the L.A. Chargers. So weird saying that right now.
I know.
Taking on the other team that didn't play last week, the Miami Dolphins. This game is in L.A. The Chargers are home. They're favored by 4.5 against Miami and Jay Cutler. Tom, who are you taking?
I'm going to take the Chargers in this game. Obviously a tough Monday night game against the Broncos. They were right there with them in Denver. They're home in this one. Miami hasn't played a game this season, but they got to travel out west. Do you think it's an advantage for Miami that they haven't played yet? Do you think they'll be fresh, or do you think they'll come out a little rusty? What's the advantage in this game? First game in L.A. also for the Chargers.
I honestly think Miami's going to be very rusty, especially since they kind of signed Jay Cutler at last minute, so I have no clue what to expect out of him. I'm not expecting him to be very good. I definitely think the traveling will be a factor, and the fact that they haven't played really yet. Definitely going to be tough for him. I'm not sold on the Chargers being like that great of a team, but I do think they should be able to beat Miami. So I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. Do you mind introducing the next game for us?
Yeah, let me take that for you. It's the New York Jets at the Oakland Raiders. Kai's team 1-0. Trying to keep pace with the Chiefs. I understand what they're trying to do. The Raiders here going up against probably the worst team in football, favored by 14 points at home. Kai, even if you weren't a Raiders fan, I don't see anybody taking on the Jets. What about you?
Yeah, I'm taking the Raiders in this one. I don't think anybody would be picking the Jets. The Jets obviously are in total rebuild mode and play for the highest pick in the draft. They're probably happy to lose out of the season anyway. I'm going to go Raiders.
For the fans at home listening, Kyle still has not taken off his Derek Carr jersey. He's still wearing it as we speak. Now we're up to, I think, 78 straight days of Derek Carr jersey. How's it feel, Kyle?
Feels amazing. It's never coming off.
He's a winner. Next game, we got the Washington Redskins at the L.A. Rams. Kai, how about those Rams? Beat down of the Colts. Really, really impressive. Washington looked pretty shaky against Philadelphia. You kind of called it. You think they're kind of a dysfunctional team this year. They definitely look dysfunctional on the field, making a lot of mistakes. Rams at home favored by 2.5, though. Can the Redskins pull off the upset?
I honestly, as great as the Rams look defensively against the horrible Colts offense, I am not sold on the Rams at all. I think Washington kind of gave that game away against Philly. They had plenty of opportunities where they could have beaten the Eagles and didn't execute on key plays. I am going to take the Redskins in this one. I expect them to bounce back. Who are you taking?
I'm going against you. I'm going with the Rams here. I think they're going to keep the mojo going. I think Todd Gurley is back. We got a little Todd Gurley redemption season, I think. He kind of took the year off last year. I think he's back. The defense is strong. Still don't love Goff, but I think the Rams will do just enough. This should be a very close game to win this one. I'll take the Rams. Quick break to talk about FanDuel. FanDuel is fantasy football for everyday fans. They've got new contests starting every week, no busted seasons, something for everyone. Lots of contests to choose from, starting at just $1. Just pick a contest, choose your team, and watch your score real time. And it's time for another terrific tip. I've got a fantasy tip here for you that you should get if you're playing daily on FanDuel. Stephon Diggs of the Minnesota Vikings. You saw him catch 2 touchdowns Monday night against the New Orleans Saints. Sam Bradford and Stephon Diggs, a whole year together now. They've got something going on. Stephon Diggs, we thought was going to have a big season last year. It looks like it might be this year. Go after Stephon Diggs of the Minnesota Vikings. And go sign up to FanDuel right now. Just go to FanDuel.com, click the Join Now button, and use my code TerrificTalk. New users get a free entry into the NFL Sunday Million with over $1 million in cash prizes when you make your first deposit on FanDuel. Just go to FanDuel.com and sign up with promo code TerrificTalk. That's FanDuel.com, promo code TerrificTalk. And Bombfell. Bombfell is an easier way for men to get better clothes. You complete a simple questionnaire and are then matched 1-to-1 with a dedicated personal stylist. When you sign up, you pay $0. You only pay for the clothes you keep, period. Bombfell is the only styling service that does not charge any fees to work with them. Your stylist will email you his or her selections, after which you'll have 48 hours to make any changes or even cancel altogether. You're in total control. The clothes are great material, and the best part of this is it's all straightforward and easy to use. I got my clothes, and I'm not gonna lie, they look good. I'm excited to go out and show my friends, and I'm not afraid to say that. I've got a really special deal for my listeners today for $25 off your first purchase. Go to bombfell.com/terrifictalk. For $25 off your first purchase, go to bombfell.com, bombfell.com/terrifictalk. Bombfell. Open and close. Now back to Kai with more Week 2 picks. Next game is a good one. Dallas at Denver. The Cowboys favored by 2 points. Kai, I don't even know what we want to say about that giant performance against Dallas. Let's start with Dallas, though. What's your takeaway from Week 1, Dallas Cowboys?
I think they're kind of what we expected. I mean, they can run the ball. They can move the offense. Dak, I don't think he's going to have like a sophomore slump. I don't think Zeke's going to have a sophomore slump, especially with that offensive line. I think they're pretty much the same team that we saw last year. The defense probably isn't. I don't think it's that good, even though I know the Giants only put up 3 points. Dallas was exactly what I expected to see out of them. What do you think?
I'm with you. I think they, in the words of Denny Green, they are what we thought they were. And they're a pretty good team. I'd say they're the favorite to win the NFC East. Can they get it done here going out west in Denver where it's always hard to play?
I do not think so. I think Denver, I think that defense is going to be too much for Dallas to take, even though Dallas does have a pretty good offense. I really like the Broncos in this game. I especially like them at home. I'm going to take Denver.
I'll stick with Denver at home too, but I could definitely see Dallas pulling it off. Next game, the San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. That Seahawks-Packers game, Kai, was terrible. Low scoring, no offense. The Seattle offense looked terrible, and they are favored by 14 points here. Who you got?
I honestly do not trust Seattle to put many points on the board at all this year. I expect them to hold offenses to very little. They did a decent job against Aaron Rodgers, but they look like the Giants in terms of having an awful offensive line. And even though Russell Wilson is able to scramble and whatnot, his offensive line just fails him miserably. I really would like to think that Seattle could beat the Niners by more than 14, but I honestly don't trust them to do so. So I'm gonna pick Seattle to win this game, but I might pick San Francisco to cover.
I'm with you. We've kind of seen this before out of Seattle, where we have these really high lines with them, and then they don't get it done. San Francisco looked really bad against Carolina. They're going to be really terrible this season, and Seattle should bounce back, and they're probably pissed off against the loss against the Packers. But I'm with you. I think Seattle will win the game, but maybe not by 14 points. Next game, the Sunday night game, Green Bay at Atlanta. This should be a fun one. Atlanta, this is a rematch, I think, of the NFC Championship game last year. Atlanta favored by 2.5 at home. Who you got, Kai? Aaron Rodgers needs a big bounce-back game here.
Aaron Rodgers does need a big bounce-back game, and I trust Aaron Rodgers a lot more than I do with Matt Ryan. And I think Green Bay's got a much better defense this year than they did last year, where Atlanta steamrolled them. This game could honestly go either way for me, but I think Aaron Rodgers would like a little bit of redemption and a little payback. So I'm going to go with Green Bay on this one.
Kai, I might take the Falcons. A little surprise here.
Really?
We know they always play really, really well at home, and I think that offense will be able to put up some points against the Packers. And for whatever reason, the biggest thing here, and this might just be a weird thing I'm saying, Aaron Rodgers, doesn't he always start off slow? I mean, we're doing this like every year now. Aaron Rodgers kind of gets off to a slow start. The Packers get off to a slow start, and then he's got to start making guarantees that will make the playoffs, and then he'll come back and dominate. Aaron Rodgers, I think, is a slow starter. And for that reason, I think I might take the Falcons.
I understand where you're coming from, but I feel like those same years, Rodgers, the Packers in general, did not have that great of a defense, so I kind of think he felt like he had to put the whole team on his shoulders. Right now, I don't think this team is that way. I don't think he feels like he has to do that. Obviously, he's a huge part of this team. Let's not get that wrong. But I really do think he'll go into Atlanta a little, definitely thinking about what happened at the end of last year, and I expect him to show up, and I expect him to win this game.
Monday night game. Guess I'm never getting any sleep. The Giants are playing in primetime every night. Giants home against the Detroit Lions. First of all, Kai, are you going to this game?
I will be there.
Wow. So you haven't given up on the team. I'm impressed by you. Good move. Giants at home. They're favored by 3.5. Is Odell? I don't know if we know. Is Odell Beckham playing? Do we know yet?
I honestly haven't heard anything yet, so I'm not sure. I was honestly shocked he wasn't playing against Dallas because he was so adamant that he was going to be ready for Week 1.
I know.
Who knows? The team needs him.
The team definitely needs him. Do you think it's a matter of if the team has him, the Giants will beat Detroit, and if they don't, they'll lose?
No, because I really think that the Giants should be capable of beating Detroit no matter who they have. I know Detroit's a decent team. I'm not terribly afraid of their offense. Their defense is pretty good. The one thing that will always be a concern for me for the Giants this year is that offensive line. I think there's going to be games where it just looks absolutely awful, but then I'm hoping there's games where they actually look pretty good. If that offensive line can hold up, I really think the Giants can beat most teams in this league. I'm going to take the Giants because I think Week 1 was just not indicative of the team that they are. So I expect them to bounce back.
I'm picking the Giants as well. I think the defense will do well against Matthew Stafford. But, Kai, when you're there, do you think you can sit down with Eli and Brandon Marshall and maybe, show them how to throw to each other? Because what was going on? That was awful. Their timing was garbage.
Like you said, it's Week 1. And when you see these guys in preseason, they're only out there for like a quarter or a half. This was their first full game, so I don't expect them to gel right off the bat. They got to establish some kind of rapport, definitely as the weeks go on. And like I said, with no Odell out there, I think everybody knows Odell is the number one, and when he's not, I think people don't know who's going to step up to be that number one in his absence. I'm not saying Eli and Brandon are going to click this week, but I do expect that. I do expect them to be on the same page a little more with the weeks down the road. It could be this week. It could be next week. Not sure. But I think the Giants will bounce back.
All right. You heard it here. Kai is sticking with the Giants. I'm in full-blown panic mode. Really, really nervous. Kai, week 2 in the books. I'm nervous. If your Raiders lose to the Jets this weekend, I don't know if you'll be back on this podcast. Throwing it out there.
Doesn't matter if they lose, the car jersey's not coming off.
The car jersey is not coming off. I might be going to get my Kareem Hunt jersey, but we'll see. Chiefs at home, the home opener. Maybe I'll fly out, Kai. We'll see.
Safe traveling with them.
All right, that'll do it for week 2. Thanks for checking it out. Enjoy the games this weekend. Hope you like our picks and fantasy football advice, and we'll see you next week. That'll do it. Kobe. FanDuel is fantasy football for everyday fans. They've got new contests starting every week, no busted seasons, something for everyone, lots of contests to choose from starting at just $1. Just pick a contest, choose your team, and watch your score real time. They've got over 2.5 million players that have won a cash prize playing fantasy sports on FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com right now and sign up. Click the Join Now button and use my code TerrificTalk. New users get free entry into the NFL Sunday Million with over $1 million in cash prizes when you make your first deposit on FanDuel. Just go to FanDuel.com, sign up with the promo code TerrificTalk. That's FanDuel.com, promo code TerrificTalk. Good luck to all you fantasy players out there. We'll see you next week.